captures the vision of our company. So the name of our company is Worthwhile Pursuits, LLC. Our slogan, I'm looking at myself, I got a lot of brightness coming through this window, but I think y'all can probably deal with that. Our slogan is, some pursuits are worth your while. Some pursuits are worth your while. So that kind of gives you a big picture just to start off with. I'm going to start way on back. Angie mentioned that I married my high school sweetheart, Julie, and practiced law. I practiced law for many years, and I used to tell Julie, and we're talking 15, 17 years ago, I would run this by Julie. I'd say, Julie, if I could think of an idea to write a book, I would do that. If I could think of a good plot, I would write a book. And I would think of plots, and so missing words was good. I would think of plots, things would come to mind. I'd run them by Julie, and like a good wife would do, she'd tell me, give me the thumbs down. It wasn't that's not a good idea, Brian. And so I appreciate her for that. And I thought probably back then, I thought, well, maybe this, given my legal background, some sort of legal thriller. But I used to think, there's no, I've read John Grisham and people like that, and I would think to myself, there's no way. The stuff I'm coming up with is not even on a level with what some of those guys have written. And so time wore on, I used to share that with Julie and continually get the thumbs down. And then one day, I give God the credit, and I say God gave me an idea. God gave me an idea, and it was back in 2009. And the idea was for this family game, to have a stuffed animal and a children's book, and that it be a hide-and-seek game that families could play together with their children. So the book would kind of outline how the game is played and where to hide the stuffed animal, and the kids could play with the stuffed animal, they could sleep with the stuffed animal. It would just be a good, fun family game. And so that idea came to me, and so I kind of fleshed it out a little bit before sharing it with Julie, and I started thinking through it, and I was like, this is actually not that bad. And then I ran it by Julie, which was the ultimate test. And he said, Brian, that's a good idea. So anyway, that started a process that I had no idea at the time where we were going to be going with this. But that was about, 2009, so almost 11 years ago. But all of a sudden, God started giving me ideas for other products and that sort of thing. But and those started to develop. So I guess I would say that the one product idea started dominoing into other product ideas, and then all of a sudden it became more of a business idea, how this could operate as a business, and then it became more of a vision, something that we could aim for and shoot for. That was, and again, I'm a Christ follower, and so I felt like God was shaping me in this vision. But I was raising toddlers, I had kids, I had family to provide for, so I wanted to move forward on it, but I kept on praying to the Lord about it, and it was like, you gotta wait. You can work on it on your free time, but you've got to provide for your family. So I would work on it on Saturdays. I'd put all my ideas down. I'd have to force myself during work hours not to think about the business and the vision and what we could achieve. And so over time, I would just work basically on Saturdays. I'd sit in a hunting stand and just type. So I tell you how many deer on this, because I'd sit there and type all my ideas out, and I was so engaged when Saturdays would roll around. Anyway, fast forwarding through a lot, I basically started spending a little bit more time on it, and my passion for it grew. I started getting a little restless in the practice of law. I never disliked practicing law, but started getting a little restless and just feeling like God was calling me to this. And so we really started moving forward about 5 years ago or so. And we officially launched the business June of 2018 with our one product, which we still only have one product, but we have the second one in the works. But the name of our product is now called Find Me Funzy the Fox. And I can tell you so much. I can tell you about how we developed the name, how we developed the stuffed animal, the book. But I'll show you this, and let's see, can y'all see that? This is the product. There's the stuffed fox. He's Funzy. I'll put him. Where's the camera? He's a soft and cuddly little thing, and a children's book. And it's a 7-event hide-and-seek game that parents and grandparents can play with their little ones. So Find Me Funzy the Fox. So the fox is named Funzy. And I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on the product because I don't know if y'all are interested in that. I'd rather tell you about the vision. If you're interested in the product, you can certainly order. But we launched that June 2018, and it's been quite the journey. We've had closed doors that we've had to deal with. We've had to. I read a book by Andy Stanley, and he said a vision worth accomplishing is really going to take two things. It's going to take risk. It's going to take sacrifice. And I have found that to be true. That it has taken those two things, risk and sacrifice. Because when we launched this thing, we had no idea if it was going to be successful, and I guess it's all in your view of what success really is. But we're not like killing it in sales or anything like that. But there's that risk. But I felt like, hey, it got to the point where I felt like that if I didn't do this, I'd disobeying the Lord, because this is what they wanted me to do. So eventually I shut down my law practice, and that took years to do, to just get out all my cases. And we launched this business, and it has taken risk and sacrifice. Now, let me just tell you that when I say it takes sacrifice, I want to acknowledge that in humility, because in humility, we can, as Americans, can talk about sacrifice. I really sacrifice to do whatever, but we really don't know. Like I'm food is on my table, and clothes are on my back. But I acknowledge that there are people around the world who are wondering how they're going to get their next meal to survive to the next day. And so when I say it takes sacrifice, I say that humbly, because this is just my opinion. If you live in America, it is like hitting the lottery. Even if you're making minimum wage, if you're in America, it's like hitting the lottery to someone who lives in India or lives in Africa. And so we are so blessed. I think sometimes we take that for granted, and we complain and we grumble. We're all guilty of that. I mean, I find myself doing that every day, and I have to catch myself. But we are so blessed to just live in this health care that we have, and just the environment that we live in, and the freedoms that we live in. And I know there are many people in our country that may be hungry, but at the same time, there's so much access to food and drink. And so when I say sacrifice, I'm saying it in the American sense of the term. That's how I qualify it, because we are certainly blessed. But anyway, so we launched our company, Worthwhile Pursuits, and our slogan is "Some pursuits are worth your while." Part of our vision is that spending quality time with your little one is a pursuit that's worth your while. I imagine that you would agree with that. Another part of our vision is that getting kids off their devices as appropriate. We're not against devices. We're just saying getting them off devices as appropriate and giving them something creative to do that's with the family and off of a screen is worth your while. There's a lot of good things that come out of electronic devices, a lot of educational things that come out. At the same time, it can be a detriment. I think you probably agree with me. So that's worth your while. Another thing that's worth your while is telling kids that they are loved. We think that is worth your while. And I'm just scratching the surface of the vision of our company. But the reason why I'm highlighting those three is because our product, our first product, which is Find Me Funzy the Fox, and that's the first in the Find Me Funzy collection, I guess encapsulates that vision in many ways. And I'll just run through this real quick just so you can get an idea of what we've got going on. I don't know if there's a bad reflection. I'm not even going to bother holding this up to the camera, but at the very beginning of our book, we have a note to dads, moms, and other loved ones. So right there, we acknowledge that there are children who are raised by someone other than their mom and dad. So we say a note to dads, moms, and other loved ones to catch those people, the foster parents, the grandparents, the aunt who's raising their child because mom or dad are in jail or divorced or deceased or whatever. So and all this, again, the vision was kind of shaped because, if I just written this book in a week, I wouldn't have thought, hey, what about the kids that aren't being raised by their mom and dad? But when you sit there and turn it over in your mind for 10 years, you can think of things like this. I'm thankful that the Lord kind of led us on that as well. But it says, most kids like to play hide and seek, right? Find Me Funzy the Fox is a hide and seek game that can be played between kids and their parents or loved ones. So enjoy playing this game with your little loved one. This is where you catch a glimpse of our vision. Be creative. Have fun. Laugh. Make some memories as you play the game together. Hopefully Find Me Funzy the Fox will serve to enrich the relationship between you and your little loved one. So, the book, so you catch a glimpse of our vision right there. We want families spending time together. We want them laughing. We want them having fun and those sorts of things. This is Funzy a Fox, as you can see. I'm going to fly through this. And I invite you to play a game with me. Now, the glare on my window is terrible. But notice what I don't know if you can see this. Let me see if I can get it up close. Notice what she's got in her hands, okay? Now, turn the page. For 7 days each day of the week, we'll play a game of hide and seek. Now, notice, if I can get it up there without the glare, notice what she's putting down. Again, even the illustrations reflect the vision of our company. That we want to get kids, we want to give parents a means to get kids off their devices and get them to spend some quality time with the family. Again, we're not against devices. I think y'all would agree, we have to be careful on the time and the use and how they're used as well. I'm going to try to find something each day new, but I won't leave you helpless. I'll give you some clues. So basically, we make it a 7-event and we tell the parents and grandparents where to hide Funzy, because we're parents too, and we don't want to be overwhelmed. We know what it's like to be overwhelmed, raising kids, you got a million things going on. Let's make it easy on parents. Tell them generally what to do, but open-ended enough to where they can have fun with it. I'll have Funzy behind the door for you today. On day 2, look for Funzy, something you play. On day 3, stand where you might cut on a light, and if you're in the right spot, Funzy will be within sight. So on this day, they go to a light switch. If they can't see Funzy in their line of vision, they're at the wrong light switch. They have to bounce around the house to the various light switches until they get to the one that leads them to Funzy. For day 4, I've dressed Funzy up in some clothes. We see, you'll see there, the parents have dressed Funzy up, and again, we don't want it just to be fun for the kids. We want it to be fun for mom and dad and grandmommy and grandpapa and that sort of thing. So I say jokingly, these parents they're having a moment. Look at it, they're happy. Everybody's happily married. Nobody has problems in marriage or anything. And I tell this story because I joke about how these in the book are having their moment. They're happy. They have no problems. I think it makes me think about a time when Julie had gotten up. It seems like it was maybe a Saturday or maybe during the summer when she wasn't working. But I was working probably on worthwhile pursuits, and she got up early and she just started cleaning the house. I'm talking about cleaning it top to bottom, just nonstop for several hours. And she was in the kitchen, and I got up and I walked into the kitchen, and I could just tell she was just absolutely exhausted, and she came to me and just fell into my arms. And it was one of those moments, where you get them like once every 3 or 4 years. It was one of those moments, and she just fell into my arms, and I just held her, and it was just so incredible. And she said, I could stay here forever. And I'll never forget those words, because it meant so much to me when I was holding her and she said, I could stay here forever. And I was just savoring the moment. And I said, right here in my arms. And she quickly pulled back and she's like, no, in this clean house. And so, we get this moment. That wasn't my moment, but maybe my moment will come up in a couple of years again, and we'll have that great moment like this happy couple times. On day 5, you'll have to search down low. On day 6, I'll draw a picture of you. When you find it, flip it over, and you'll get another clue. This is our scavenger hunt event page. And if that picture is funny, hopefully they'll make it funny, and it'll go up on the fridge for a few months or something. So the whole thing, well, let me just share this. On day 7, find something odd, unusual, or just not right. You can probably see from the illustration what's the problem with that picture. And something will be close by but hidden from your sight. So the whole book is meant to the whole game is meant to just get families spending time together, have some laughs, make some memories, just have fun together in a non-electronic environment. And so the whole thing is just meant to be good for the family. And then my personally my 3 favorite pages of the book, and this is part of the driving factor of why we do what we do. It says this, after your 7th search, our game is through, but one thing that will never end is my love for you. So, we want kids around America hearing those words from their dad, their mom, their grandmama, grandpapa, whoever, that after your 7th search, our game is through, but one thing that will never end is my love for you. So, we're trying to get this product out there because, if anything, I personally love for kids to hear those words, and that's coming from my personal experience. My father passed away when I was 8, and my mom pounded into me how much she loved me, and that made an incredible difference in my life. And if you are one of those people who were blessed enough to have your parents tell you that they loved you, you can probably look back and know how much that meant to me. And I would even go so far as to say, if you didn't have a parent who told you that, or you had a parent who refused to tell you that, you probably know what kind of effect that had on you. And so we are not just selling a product, we are casting a vision for families and our community and our country. We are trying to just change families one child at a time, one family at a time, and one community at a time. And these are just little ways that we can do this. Our next product has something similar to that, to the spouses of love to the child. So anyway, I guess I'll kind of wrap it up. I think I've been talking for a little bit, so let me go ahead and wrap it up so I can allow for questions. But if you know of a family who might could benefit from this, you may know, one of the things that drives me is I think to myself, if this was the only time, let's say Daddy sits down and reads this book to his child, and Daddy's kind of a closed up type person, and I think if this is the only time that child hears the words from her dad, or that I love you and that love will never end, I mean, that just drives me, and I just love it because kids need to hear that. And it might be what breaks the ice for the dad. When those words come out, maybe he said, and they read the book and they play the game 2 or 3 times, maybe the words "I love you" come out a little bit easier next time, and all of a sudden he starts expressing it outside the game, and then it becomes a habit, and the child knows, hey, my dad loves me, and he tells me that all the time. And if this is what it takes to break that ice, whew, I mean, I get pumped up about that. So anyway, I'm going to stop there, and y'all don't have to ask any questions because I know you have busy schedules as well. But Angie, I guess I'll call you back and see. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have. Otherwise, Angie, you're welcome to close up the meeting.
Well, thanks, Brian. Does anybody have any questions for Brian about his story, his vision, his product? Can you tell us where we can get one of these?
Oh, yeah, I forgot to do that.
Sorry, you're really breaking up. It might just be on my
end. Okay. Can you hear me say worthwhilepursuits.com?
I can hear you now.
Okay. I'll tell you what, I'll take the video off. I don't know if that helps. Can you hear me okay, Angie?
Yep, I can hear everything now.
Okay. So you can order online. We ship for free at worthwhilepursuits.com. That's worthwhilepursuits.com. I might even type it in. Or if you don't feel comfortable getting online, worthwhile, give me 2 seconds. But if you don't feel comfortable getting online, I'll just give you the office number, and you can call and order it. If you don't get us, okay. So I just posted in the chat thing the website and the phone number. If you don't get me because I'm not in the office a lot during this time, just leave a message, and I try to be pretty prompt on getting back to you, and we'll work out the ordering. Give me your credit card over the phone if you feel more comfortable doing that, because I realize some people don't like ordering online. So
perfect. And we have someone, Connie Moore, I believe, has a question. She has raised her hand.
Oh, really? I can't see her, so that's cool. Great.
Hey, Brian, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Okay, well, I would like to connect with you in person, or rather by phone at a later date, or email or something. So you just posted that. But I just wanted to also tell you how much I love your passion for what you're doing. And I feel like you're absolutely where you're supposed to be, because you're dead on with what kids are needing, and especially right now in this situation. There's a lot of confusion, and parents are very, frustrated, and so I just wanted to give you a hand clap for what you're doing, and wish you all the best, and God bless you.
Well, Connie, that means so much to me, because we get discouraged at times. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's not tough at times. And I have a smile on my face, but because I know the Lord is going to take care of us, but it does get kind of tough sometimes, and so I'm thankful for those encouraging words, because it really is. When I think about the big picture, I think, this is the kind of stuff that matters in life. We tend to get our eyes focused on the things of the world and our circumstances, but really, these are things that really matter, and I really do appreciate your encouragement.
All right, I'll be reaching out to you. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks, Brian. You can definitely tell that your passion speaks for itself when you tell a story about how your company evolved and your vision evolved. And Connie is also in the line of work of training and teaching and raising and engaging and mentoring young kids, because she owns Elite Gymnastics. And so, and she's just a wonderful mentor for all those kids. So that would be great if y'all could hook up. Good thing. Come out of Rotary meetings like this, and I know that you shared your story with a bunch of other groups. So we wish you the best of luck, and thank you for sharing it with us today.
Well, I really want to say thank you to y'all for taking the time to listen and giving me the opportunity. That means a lot to me. So and pass it on to Tom as well. I think he was the original one.
I know. And Tom's not able to be with us today.
But yeah, I really do appreciate y'all giving me your time.
Great. Any other questions or any other comments for Brian? And I think everybody can see the chat, so you can see the website where you can get more information or reach out to him. All right, I don't see anybody raising their hand or making a comment. So thanks again, Brian.
Well, I appreciate y'all.
All right. Just to close up the meeting, thank you all. Thanks again to Joe for such a great job, and he always makes it so easy. And he does all the behind-the-scenes work of getting all these meetings scheduled, and the pledge, the prayer, the four-way test, having all those slides set up, and getting the presenters what they need. So thanks again to that. And if you would like to pledge a donation to feed the Baldwin County School District kids, or really any child in Baldwin County, then if you could please email me, text me, call me, and we'll discuss that as a board as well. And as I mentioned, Tom is not on here today. Tom Glover is actually competing in Nashville. I don't know how many of you know this. For its best of the best, I believe is what it is. But he, along with 4 other individuals from around the country, are competing. And it's a kind of a boot camp, and he has to do like an elevator pitch and then discussion and interview and all kinds of stuff for IT individuals and entrepreneurs, and he has a chance to win an Aston Martin. So he'll find out this evening. I think he did his speech yesterday, and it was in like a recording studio, not a live audience, obviously. But he finds out this evening, so we wish him the best of luck with that. Is there anything else, or does anybody else have anything they want to share or any comments? All right, well then I will see you all again next Thursday, and let's go make a connection. Have a good day, everybody.